August 5th, 2023. Bel Air, Maryland. The air hung thick with the humid warmth of a late summer evening, slowly giving way to dusk. In this picturesque, unassuming town, life moved at a comfortable pace. And at its heart lay the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail, a beloved stretch of paved path winding through lush woods, a sanctuary for walkers, joggers, and families enjoying the quiet beauty of nature. It was a place where community felt safe, where a solo stroll at sunset was a simple pleasure, not a hidden danger. This was the world of Rachel Morin. At 37, she was a vibrant, devoted mother of 5, a woman with an infectious spirit and a commitment to health and fitness. For Rachel, an evening walk on the Ma and Pa Trail was a cherished ritual, a chance to clear her head, to breathe, to simply be. That Sunday evening, just like countless others, she laced up her shoes, kissed her children goodbye, and headed out. Her family expected her back shortly. It was just a routine walk, after all. But as the twilight deepened, the minutes stretched into an hour, then 2. The easy rhythm of the evening turned to a subtle unease within her home. Rachel wasn't the type to be late without a word. Her boyfriend, sensing something was wrong, drove to the trailhead. His heart sank as he spotted her familiar silver Honda Ridgeline, parked empty. The car was there, but Rachel was gone. A knot of dread tightened in his stomach as he immediately called the police, reporting her missing. The call ignited an urgent, desperate search. Police cruisers converged on the trailhead, their flashing lights cutting through the growing darkness. Volunteers, fueled by a terrifying mix of hope and fear, joined the effort, fanning out along the familiar path, calling Rachel's name into the encroaching night. The tight-knit community of Bel Air rallied, but the collective anxiety mounted with every passing minute that yielded no sign of her. Dawn broke on Monday, August 6th, casting a cold, indifferent light over the search efforts. After a harrowing night of relentless searching, the worst fears were realized. In a wooded area, just off the main trail, a searcher made the grim, heartbreaking discovery. There, hidden beneath the canopy of trees, was Rachel Morin's body. The news sent shockwaves, not just through Bel Air, but across the entire nation. The tranquil trail, once a symbol of peace and health, was now a chilling crime scene. Authorities quickly confirmed it was a homicide, but details were scarce, adding to the terror. The horrific realization settled over the community. A vibrant mother had been brutally taken, not by a random act of nature, but by an unseen predator lurking in the very place they all considered safe. The peace of the Ma and Pa Trail was shattered, replaced by an agonizing question: who would do this, and why? The morning after the grim discovery, the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail, usually bustling with life, was transformed into a somber, cordoned-off crime scene. Police tape fluttered in the breeze, and forensic teams in protective suits meticulously scoured every inch of the wooded area where Rachel's body was found. Every fallen leaf, every blade of grass, every disturbed patch of earth was scrutinized for clues. The silence that hung heavy in the air was unnerving, broken only by the hushed voices of investigators and the distant chirping of birds, oblivious to the tragedy that had unfolded. In the immediate aftermath, answers were agonizingly slow to emerge. Law enforcement remained tight-lipped, releasing minimal details about the state of Rachel's body or the nature of her injuries. This official silence, while standard procedure, only fueled the terrifying speculation gripping the community of Bel Air. Without a clear motive, an obvious weapon, or any witnesses to the attack, the police were, for all intents and purposes, hunting a ghost. The murder shattered the idyllic peace of the town. Parents hugged their children tighter. Joggers who once felt safe on the trail now looked over their shoulders, their runs replaced by gnawing fear. Schools and community centers issued alerts, urging caution and vigilance. The very idea that a predator had been lurking in their peaceful sanctuary, attacking a mother out for an evening walk, was almost unbearable. This wasn't a random act of violence imported from a distant city. This felt like a violation of their very way of life. Law enforcement swiftly launched a public appeal for information. Billboards popped up with Rachel's face. News channels broadcast her story, and social media buzzed with calls for justice. Tips flooded in, some helpful, many more leading to dead ends. Investigators meticulously followed every lead, interviewing anyone who had seen Rachel that day, anyone who frequented the trail, anyone who might have seen something, anything suspicious. But each day passed without an arrest, deepening the public's anxiety. As weeks turned into a month, the initial shock began to settle into a cold, persistent dread. The Ma and Pa Trail, once a beloved escape, lay largely deserted, a haunting monument to the terror that had descended upon it. For Rachel's family, the weight was unbearable. They grappled with unimaginable grief, complicated by the constant media scrutiny and the agonizing knowledge that their loved one's killer was still out there, free, an unseen shadow lurking in the periphery of their lives. The quiet fear amplified, leaving Bel Air to wonder when, or if, this terrifying predator would ever be brought to justice. Months crawled by, each day without an arrest deepening the wound in Bel Air. The initial flurry of tips had dwindled, and the investigation, while relentless, seemed to be hitting a wall. The fear, however, remained a palpable presence, a silent acknowledgement that Rachel Morin's killer was still out there, an unseen shadow. Then a breakthrough. It came, as so often happens in cold cases, from the quiet, painstaking work of forensic science. A crucial piece of evidence, DNA found at the crime scene, was meticulously processed and uploaded to national databases. It was a long shot, a needle in a haystack, but it was the first tangible lead in months. The wait was agonizing, but when the results finally came back, they sent shockwaves through the investigative team. The DNA hit a match. Not to a local suspect, not to someone already on their radar, but to an unknown assailant in a March 2023 home invasion and assault in Los Angeles, California. The implications were staggering. Rachel Morin's murder was not an isolated incident. Her killer was a brutal, transient predator whose violent path stretched thousands of miles across the country. With this shocking interstate connection, the investigation immediately escalated. The local police, already stretched thin, now had the full force of the FBI at their disposal. What began as a tragic local homicide had transformed into a nationwide manhunt for a serial offender. The Los Angeles Police Department quickly shared their case files, including the most chilling piece of evidence yet: grainy, unsettling surveillance footage of the suspect from the California incident. The footage, now released to the public, became the face of the monster. It showed a young Hispanic male, muscular build, walking erratically, then seen leaving the scene of the California assault. His image, though blurry, was plastered across news channels and social media, a terrifying symbol of the danger he posed. The public was urged to remain vigilant, to report any sightings, as the realization set in. This wasn't just a local threat. This was a national one. The fact that the suspect had committed a violent crime in California, just months before Rachel's murder in Maryland, raised terrifying questions. How had he traveled across the country? What was his motive? And how many other victims might he have claimed in the vast, anonymous stretches between these two brutal acts? The hunt for Rachel Morin's killer had just become a desperate race against time, a chilling pursuit of a phantom who left a trail of terror in his wake. The revelation of the California DNA link and the grainy surveillance footage of Victor Martinez Hernandez ignited a firestorm of public outrage. Rachel Morin's face, once a symbol of tragic loss, was now inextricably linked with the chilling image of her alleged killer. Social media exploded, amplifying the suspect's picture, turning him into a terrifying, omnipresent phantom whose capture became a national obsession. The pressure on law enforcement was immense, fueled by a grieving community's desperate demand for justice. What followed was an unprecedented nationwide manhunt. Local police in Harford County, Maryland, collaborated seamlessly with state police and the full might of the FBI. Task forces were assembled, hotlines buzzed, and a torrent of tips poured in from every corner of the country. Every lead, no matter how tenuous, was meticulously followed. Authorities knew they were not just looking for a murderer, they were tracking a highly dangerous individual, a transient predator who had already left a trail of violence across states and could strike again at any moment. Warnings were issued to communities, especially those near hiking trails or with similar demographics to the suspect's known victims. The threat felt immediate and personal, keeping residents on edge. The Ma and Pa Trail, once slowly regaining its visitors, emptied again, a stark reminder that the danger still loomed. The question wasn't just if Martinez Hernandez would be caught, but when, and at what cost. After months of relentless, tireless searching, the break in the case finally came. It was a testament to the persistent dedication of investigators and the power of public vigilance. A critical tip, details of which remain under wraps, led authorities to a specific location in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Martinez Hernandez, who had seemingly vanished into the vast anonymity of the American landscape, was finally cornered. On August 17, 2024, more than a year after Rachel Morin's murder, Victor Martinez Hernandez was apprehended. The news spread like wildfire, bringing a collective sigh of relief, though tempered by the long road ahead. The manhunt, a harrowing journey spanning thousands of miles and countless hours, had finally ended. The alleged killer was off the streets. But for Rachel Morin's family, and for a nation still reeling from the brutality, the capture was merely the beginning of the next agonizing chapter, the fight for justice in a courtroom. With Victor Martinez Hernandez finally in custody, the focus of the Rachel Morin case shifted from a desperate manhunt to the slow, methodical grind of the justice system. He was swiftly extradited to Maryland, where he faced charges of first-degree murder, rape, and assault. The initial court hearings were a grueling ordeal for Rachel's family, forcing them to confront the man accused of taking their loved one in the very community where she had lived and died. Rachel's 5 children, her boyfriend, and her wider family became the public face of an unimaginable tragedy. They attended every hearing, their quiet dignity a testament to their profound grief and unwavering resolve for justice. Their struggle underscored the long-term, devastating emotional toll such a brutal crime inflicts, not just on the immediate victims, but on an entire network of loved ones left behind. They advocated tirelessly, not only for Rachel but for all victims of violent crime, turning their personal anguish into a powerful call for accountability. Throughout the preliminary proceedings, Martinez Hernandez offered no confession, no remorse, and no clear explanation for his actions. His alleged motive remained deeply unsettling and vague, a chilling void where answers should have been. Was Rachel just a random target, a mother in the wrong place at the wrong time? Or was there a darker, unseen connection, a twisted logic known only to him? This lack of a clear why continued to haunt the case, leaving a gaping hole in the narrative for those desperately seeking closure. The case, however, transcended the personal tragedy of the Morin family. It sparked national discussions about public safety on hiking trails, the efficacy of DNA databases in solving cold cases, and the alarming mobility of violent offenders across state lines. Rachel's story became a cautionary tale, but also a powerful symbol of how advancements in forensic science could finally begin to bring justice to victims and answers to grieving families, even when faced with seemingly impossible odds. Today, the Ma and Pa Heritage Trail slowly reopens, but its innocence is forever lost. Residents still walk its paths, but now with a heightened awareness, a subtle glance over their shoulders, a quiet acknowledgement of the terror that once stalked its serene woods. Rachel Morin's case, while moving towards a hopeful resolution in the courts, leaves behind enduring questions about the true extent of Martinez Hernandez's alleged crimes and the psychological scars left on a community that once felt so safe. The memory of Rachel, a vibrant mother taken too soon, becomes a permanent, heartbreaking echo in the quiet woods of Maryland, a testament to a life tragically cut short and a chilling reminder of the unknown darkness that can sometimes hide in plain sight.